Hello, and welcome back to Bible Wits Bible Corner. Today we're going to look at two different passages. We're going to start in the book of Matthew, and then we're going to jump up to Romans. I'm going to start with the English Standard Version, and we're going to start with Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. Enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide, and the way is easy that leads to destruction, and those who enter it are many. For the gate is narrow, and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Okay. Romans chapter 6, verses 15 and 16. What then? Are we to sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? By no means. Do you not know that if you present yourselves to anyone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one whom you obey, either of sin, which leads to death, or of obedience, which leads to righteousness? All right, now the New Century Version. Again, that's Matthew 7, 13 and 14. Enter through the narrow gate. The gate is wide, and the road is wide that leads to hell, and many people enter through that gate. But the gate is small, and the road is narrow that leads to true life. Only a few people find that road. All right, now Romans 6, verses 15 and 16. So what should we do? Should we sin because we are under grace and not under the law? No, surely you know that when you give yourselves like slaves to obey someone, then you are really slaves of that person. The person you obey is your master. You can follow sin, which brings spiritual death, or you can obey God, which makes you right with Him. Okay, so both of these passages talk about choosing one of two different paths. But before we get into that, I want to talk about grace that was talked about in Romans, or in the first part of Romans 6. So grace is a gift that is given to us. It's a gift that we do not deserve. However, God does give it to us. And there is a belief that if you continue to sin, God is just going to pour out grace on you, even though you are continuing to willingly sin. And it's not necessarily true. Because as these passages point out, you can either follow sin, which leads to destruction, or you can follow God, which leads to eternal salvation. A way that I like to equate the passage of these two choices. One of my hobbies is riding four-wheelers. I love to ride four-wheelers. And a lot of those paths are very narrow, and they're definitely off the beaten path. There's a few of them that it takes a little bit to get to. But the scenery on those rides is beautiful. The journey with God is a beautiful journey. Those rides are not easy. There's lots of hairpin corners. There's going to be bumps in the road for your Christian journey. The other road, the wide road that leads to destruction. I've never been there, but a highway in Los Angeles, I've heard, is massively wide, and it is constantly crowded. So several people on it. It's straight, it's smooth, there's no obstacles to get around except for maybe the car in front of you. But still, a very wide, straight path. So that's the analogies that I like to use to describe these verses. Do we want to enjoy the scenery off the beaten road on our Christian walk, or do we want to take the easy route and be away from God? I hope you find encouragement in this, and I hope you have a wonderful God-centered day. Bye.